control here. Running a very slow sequence, and in fact we're not even really sequencing the pitch. I'm just going to remove that little pitch modulation that we had there. Mic's a little quiet. Is it sounding better now? Turn it up a little bit more. Hopefully that's helpful. And even a little more. Hopefully that is audible now. These were the first office hours star, Zero Control and Zero Coast, with Pete, I believe. So what we're doing is actually using the dynamic envelope to create the notes. I've actually got it patched through the voltage math, and then the sum of that going to open the dynamic circuit. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a little side chaining, but I don't have it set up for that right now. Sorry about that. Hopefully it's not going to fight with the synth too much. And excuse my sniffles too, I've got a little allergies going on this week. So the reason that I have the dynamic envelope patched through the voltage math is because I also have the slope patched to the voltage math, and it's currently inactive, it's not cycling. But when I cycle it, I'm gonna subtract it just a little bit from the voltage math here, subtracting it from the dynamic envelope. And I can add some flutters and subtle tempos and contours to it. Almost like a helicopter, something like that. Another thing that's going on here is that since the contour section is not being used there, I'm taking the dynamic gate output to it and using it to open the balance circuit so that we go from having just triangle wave to kind of modulating between the triangle and the overtones. I also had patched the square wave to modulate multiply at audio rate, which makes it a little dirtier sounding. And we have the final step of the zero control, clocking the zero coast, which will create a new random voltage each time it goes all the way through the sequence, and that's modulating overtone, so we get a new set of overtones each time through the sequence. Now, these are all pretty subtle differences. I think nothing really extreme in difference from one kind of note to the next. And then I also have the MIDI B LFO going and the gate output of that to the linear FM so that I can get kind of something that kind of kicks a little bit. I also started with the pitch CV patch to the volt per octave input, but all the knobs turned all the way down so that it's not actually doing anything. Haitham Zakaria, it is fine with me if you write in French as long as you're not talking about me. Chris is asking, how big is the difference when going from Optomix to Dynamics? And I assume you mean the Dynamics circuit of the Zero Coast. I would say it's a very big difference, actually. The Dynamics circuit does have some filtering built into the VCA of it. So if I turn it down, we'll hear it getting less bright. But it does not have a Vactrol in it, so there's none of the additional decay that's imparted to the sound the way that the Optomix would. And that's the main reason for that is that the Dynamics circuit is specifically designed to be opened by the contour circuit, and a Vactrol low-pass gate like the Optomix, because it has additional kind of mostly uncontrollable decay that's added to whatever your modulator is, doesn't track a complex 4-stage envelope like the contour as closely as a VCA-based circuit like the Dynamics circuit does, and so therefore the Optomix isn't really as well suited to playing with keyboards and using ADSR envelopes. So the Dynamics circuit is specially made for that. However, it is unusual that a VCA-based circuit like the Dynamics would also have the filtering built into it, and that element of it is certainly inspired by low-pass gates, and it's kind of one of the most prominent examples of so-called East Coast and so-called West Coast designs being integrated into a single part of this Zero Coast circuit. Why did we retire the breakout modules from the Zero Coast? I'm not sure what that... Oh, do you mean the Contour and the Dynamics modules? They, I actually don't know the answer to that. My guess is that the demand for them was going down, and we had a lot of other things that we were also making. I do like both those modules. Chris says he notices Contour with LXD has the same kind of thing going on, where the LXD maybe can't track it as closely. So I think that's a big part of why two-stage envelopes are more common with low-pass gates and with synthesizers that are mostly sequenced as opposed to played with keyboard-style controllers, because shorter notes with low-pass gates and especially with FM and wave shaping and things like that sound really good through low-pass gates. And two-stage envelopes they're simple, but they can do a lot of stuff. And so since we also have the slope circuit on the Zero Coast, which runs at the kind of it has the kind of ranges in its rise and fall that are much more extreme than what's available on the Contour as well. So yeah, they're definitely better suited to different purposes. The slope is and similarly with function and with maths, they're only 2 stages, but they're general purpose, so they have much larger ranges. They're made to automatically cycle and or be triggered at the same time, so they can run an audio RAID and have a lot of fine control and extreme control over the shapes of them, but they're simpler because they're only 2 stages, and they're not going to create as complex of a note out of a keyboard gate. Here's another question. This is an interesting one. Can an apple serve as a source of modulation? One copper contact inserted into the apple, and the other is pushed over the surface or inserted to a different depth. So are we thinking that the apple you would patch one cable into one side of the apple and the other into the other, and then see if the signal travels through it, if it's conductive? The water content should make it at least a little bit conductive. I don't know. That's interesting. I have never tried that. I see slope is unipolar by design, which is true. Actually, all the CV signals in both these devices are unipolar by design. Using the math section, you could indeed make it bipolar. Before we bust this patch down, I wanted to clock it externally real quick, just to hear what it sounded like. I don't know exactly what we did here, but it sounds cool. Let's talk about level shifting of the slope. That was a fun patch, but no patch lasts forever, especially that one. Okay, so slope, we're going to level shift it. So if I just patch it straight through the voltage math, then I get a positive going function that I can use to control whatever I need to. I think that perhaps we'll use it to control pitch. Let's just use an open gate of the zero control to hold the dynamics open, since I don't have my typical offset that I would use from the sum output normally. I've also put a dummy cable into the multiply circuit because this is normal to the output of the slope. So if I don't do that, I'll get some modulation there, and I just want to remove the modulation so we can hear exactly what we're trying to hear. Now, if we patch the slope via this sum output here to the volt per octave input, let's slow that down. Hopefully that's not painfully loud. Turn this down a little more. So when nothing's patched to the right-hand input, it's normal to an offset. So we can use this knob to level shift it. And you can see that when I turn it down enough, it'll turn into red on the output, meaning that there is negative voltage coming out. Let's slow it down so you can see it a little better. So at its lowest, it's going to turn red because it's going through 0, and then back up to green as it goes into positive. Now, the thing about this, the thing that I think many people don't realize about something like level shifting, or maybe, I think a lot of people realize it, but maybe they forget it sometimes while patching, and I certainly do as well, is that if you're level shifting like this, adding an offset up or down to it while patching into a parameter that has a panel control, you can get the exact same effect by just turning the knob itself. However, I don't know, in this case, the pitch knob doesn't go as low as what we can create with this negative offset here. So this actually is something that you couldn't do with just the pitch knob and the input. Time at the same time. Oops. Changing from positive to bipolar can also have an interesting effect on the sidebands. Although that's really more for ring modulation than FM, and we don't have a way to do ring modulation on the zero coast. Would we consider doing an office hours interfacing make noise with some favorite third-party modules? Yeah, that could be fun. I could definitely see doing that. I'll put that on the list for possible topics for the future. Also, while I'm on the note of future office hours, and I'll let everybody know that next week we'll have an unusual one. I'm going to be having a conversation at office hours with our friend Bana Hafar, who's an artist who some of you are probably familiar with, a really amazing musician and a lot of fun to talk to. And we're going to have kind of just a relaxed chat about her work and whatever else comes up during office hours, and we'll have the chat windows open for people to ask questions during it and after it as well. So I'm really looking forward to that for next week, so hope everybody will be able to make it for that. Now let's think about patching. Can we dream of a make noise easel? You can dream of anything. I think that sounds like fun too, but who knows what the future holds. Okay, so we should come up with another patch. Does anybody have a suggestion or something that they really want to hear with the zero coast and zero control, or should I try to pull something out of my back pocket here? shop for each bass player joke we make. I'll see if I can get a nice little stock of them up beforehand. Okay, so I think what I might do here is move these down. Zoom out a little bit. And bring in the tape and microsound machine too, and we can do some processing of the zero coast with the tape and microsound. Oh, now I see some patch requests that I missed. All right, somebody asked, can you achieve duophonic patch with this setup? And I'm gonna say that we can, so let's try that. That'll be a good one to start with. If we take the dynamics out, let's go through the QPass, just QPass to start. We'll start with one note. Oops, that is not the right jack. There we go. So, and then the next thing we're going to want to do is use the slope as our other voice, and let's run it into the balance input here. Gonna put a dummy in multiply so that we don't let's use the time row of the zero control to sequence its frequency. Just going by ear here, so hopefully it's in tune all right. Layer it with the mimeophone. Signs point to yes. Should we clock the mimeophone? Let's also use the contour which will be different from this dynamic envelope we've got. Let's use it to modulate the Q bus. And why stop there? Why stop anywhere, of course? Let's see. Somebody asks, how does the mimeophone sound as a slapback delay? Would that just be... something kind of like that, maybe. I don't know if this is the best sequence for hearing slapback, but okay, I know it's not in the QMMG, says Matthew, but do we have any tricks for making the QPOS sound really squelchy? Okay, one thing I really like to do is add feedback to it, and that would be to you can take either a left or right output of one of the unused filters. The right output will be less extreme, so we'll start with that. Actually, let's start with the more extreme one. The bandpass here, and run it into the cutoff. Once you turn the attenuator up, you get total mess here. But you can get... That's a very good point. Backing off the level control helps with this. I agree. Because that's going to help you not pin the inputs of it to where the resonance isn't able to stick out as much. I saw another question, can we make a kick drum out of maths, which might be a fun thing to add to this. And I think what I'm going to try to do for that is molt my clock. This is gonna make the maybe phone jump for a second since I unpatched it. Patch that clock to trigger this math channel. Since I don't have an open VCA on here, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this, but let's see what we can do. I'm going to try running the other math channel fairly slow, but making it so that when this one gets triggered, it speeds it up into audio. I'm also going to mult this to random so we can get a little more variation on the rate of this echo. Okay, for a second here, I'm gonna make this mono on the QPOS output. Let's skew the rate so we still get some stereo going. And I'm gonna put this maths into the right input and just see what happens. Not quite a kick drum, but I think it has a similar effect to what a kick drum would have. Oh, maths into the mystery inputs. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. That was a good one. Thanks, Galen, baby. I see. I'm not clocking the random here. I'm really enjoying this patch. Good job, everybody. Chris says, I know Make Noise keeps many ideas and visions Buchla had alive and thinks them forward. Are there other makers besides Buchla and Moog that might inspire new modules, Surge, etc.? Well, yes. So Buchla and Moog are both definitely, I mean, they're obvious inspirations since they were the creators of voltage-controlled synthesizers to begin with. And you can not really do anything with synthesizers that's not inspired by them in some way. But yes, Surge has also been an explicit inspiration. The maths is inspired by, in addition to the Buchla function generators, Also, the middle section of the maths is inspired by Buchla's level shifting mixer, and the slope generators are also they're very much inspired by the Serge dual universal slope generator. So it's kind of the universal slope generator, the Buchla envelope generators, and the way that Buchla had mixing done in this system, all mashed into one thing. And then there's also some tricks that Tony had added to it, like the logic outputs, and specifically the exponential shapes, which are made to be far more extreme in the exponential shape than most function generators will give you. And I would also be remiss, I don't know if remiss is the right word, if I didn't mention wired, because the Woggle Bug, which itself is inspired by Buchla's source of uncertainty module, but put some new twists on it. The Woggle Bug is designed that actually uses Grant Richter's circuit that he made for wired and for DIY Woggle Bugs, and then the Make Noise versions have additional things added and changed to make them unique within our system. But that's the most explicit, definitely partially designed by Grant Richter of Wired. And the same is not quite true, but almost true of the Rix Mix, which is we no longer make that one, but it was based on a circuit idea that Grant had that he never actually made. So Tony took the idea and turned it into an actual thing. Okay, I have not a stupid question. Can we explain the Make Noise mult? There are 3 channels on the mult, but anytime that one of the in-outs with an arrow pointing to it is unpatched, the signal will also appear at the other outputs below. So here I have the clock patched into the top channel. The next 2 are outputs of that clock. I left this circle input unpatched, so this clock appears there too. Whoops, pulled it out. If I patch something else into that circle, then everything below this would be that instead. And these are all bidirectional. They can be inputs or outputs. It's just about whether the ones with the circles are patched, whether you've got 2, 4, or 6 outputs of that one channel. Yes, of course. Dieter Doepfer was also mentioned. Originating Eurorack format can't be overestimated in terms of its importance, and having additional manufacturers come and do things within that format. I know that Tony has also said he was inspired especially by Scott Yeager of Harvestman Industrial Music Electronics. And he's also mentioned Peter Grenader from Plan B and some others as well. Sorry, I'm losing track of all the chats, but I think that somebody asked where the panning is coming from, since Xpan's not in this, and I'm also only using a mono output of the QPOS right now so that I can mix this pseudo kick drum with the Zero Coasts oscillator without them being hard panned. But the panning is coming from the mimeophone, which I've added a skew to it so that the rate controls the 2 sides independently. If I turn this back on, it'll be more obvious, I think. Let's do a little minor level shifting with of the woggle bug here. For micro rate modulation. It's pretty fun to sum all the tempi outputs. That's true too. I don't have a tempi here, but if you switch tempi to trigger outputs and mix, you can use the mult to kind of mix them together and get cool polyrhythms and stuff to send to one input. I'm really kind of liking how I get like totally different character for this whole patch depending on the setting of the QPOS here. So I'm also gonna clock. I'm gonna reach. Can't quite reach there. I'm gonna clock the bug too and send it to modulate the main frequency of the QPOS. Why has there not been a sequential switch by Make Noise yet? I bet I bring up the sequential switch every single time we're talking about new module ideas. But it just hasn't made it to the top of what we want to do at the moment anytime so far. I don't think that it's necessarily the most exciting whiz-bang kind of module for being something that could be a main release, so it all depends on when we're making the right kind of thing. I don't know, tough. But Doper makes fantastic sequential switches already that do exactly what you want, and they're very affordable. This patch is just really nice. I kind of want to just go out on this one, really. Hard to get the full systems in stores. This is simply because we are having production delays on everything, and the full system requires us to have every single part of it all at once, which is just really tough to do, especially with all of the delays that are happening due to COVID this year. So we do have plans in place to get everything, including systems, back in stock, but it's just slow going, and we'll get that all back in stock as soon as we possibly can. Inevitably, somebody suggests that we should record this to the Morphogene. Since we started a little late, I'm going to go just a little bit late. We'll go about another 5 minutes here. But I'm out of patch cables, so I'll be right back to do that. we'll record the output of the mimeophone into the morphogene. Let's hear what that sounds like. Oh, that's such a good hit there. Sounds gnarly. What if we do a little layering of it? Clock it with something faster, I think. There we go. Everybody wants to modulate in the woods. Yeah, myself included. We're out of time. Thank you all for joining us today. This is a lot of fun. Really got some cool sounds out of this setup, I think. Once again, I want to mention that next week be doing something a little different. Have a conversation here on office hours with Bana Hafar, good friend of Make Noise and fantastic musician. I'm really excited to have the opportunity to have a little chat with her, and it'll be interactive too. We'll have a chat window just like we have at every office hours, and people can ask questions and we can all hang out and have a good time. So hope you will be able to make it here for that. Same time, same place. Have a great week, everybody.